for me to take on that expense with where I was at with my income. But I knew I had to try. I knew I had to, to be brave and put myself out there.
Welcome back to Life at 10 Tenths, where we inspire you to live at the pinnacle of your ability and purpose. I am so grateful. I have my dear friend, longtime coaching. Okay, Jess Babington is here with us today. I am so grateful to have her here with us. Jess is out of Lake Norman, North Carolina, which is actually just outside of Charlotte. She's with Trump International Realty. And Jess, I'm going to jump right to you. Matt, we'll get to you in a second. Jess, good morning. I'm so grateful to have you here.
Good morning. I am thrilled to be here with y'all. Thanks for having me.
Jess, we've known each other for a long time now. We've been working with each other since 2014. I've been with you and in your business and kind of in all the nuts and bolts and where you're going. And you bring so much great energy with you everywhere you go. You have a contagious laugh. You have just this brilliant smile. I am so grateful that we get to spend some time with you today.
Well, back at you. And I can attest to the fact that both Garrett and Matt are actual humans. I've met them in person. I don't know how many people can say that.
Yeah, we had a good time. That was last year down here in Charleston. We had some good fun.
We did. It was great. I was happy to get to spend some time with you guys in real life.
Yeah. We do exist. Sometimes we hang in our caves a little too long, but we do exist. Well, Jess, I wanted to have you on today because we obviously have shared a lot of history together and we've watched your business grow. And
yes.
I want to throw some numbers on the table real quick, because when we first started working together, you were making about $40,000 a year in real estate and wondering should I leave my team I'm on and go off on my own?
Yep.
And you in 2024, which was a year that handed a lot of people their butts. There's a lot of people listening to this right now that said 2024 was the worst year potentially they may have ever had in real estate. You pulled off one of your better or best years, plus put on top of it multiple $100,000 months. You almost hit 200,000 in 1 month.
Yeah.
And it's crazy for me, and Matt can attest to this too, that when we're coaching and working with people, we have to bob and weave with our coaching calls, because you don't quite know, you're not going to get the same story from one person to the next and then one person to the next. And you were just so, I would say, calm this year. You just had this, with a lot of other stuff going on behind the scenes, you were just head down, doing the right stuff, staying focused, keeping your mind in the best place possible. I'm excited to go down this journey with you today. I'm excited to talk about what gives you this such a strong referral relationship business. And let's jump in here. Are you ready to go?
Yeah, let's do it.
My goodness. Well, let's go back real quick, because I know I threw to the listeners out there that you were making about $40,000 a year. I don't want to spend a ton of time on this, but where were you back then at that moment of going, okay, here I am. I have the safety net of this team that I'm on, but I feel like there's something bigger that has led you to where you're at today.
Yeah. So, you and I met at, a training, and at the time I was on a team, and I, was very new to real estate, very new to sales in general. And as you know, I really struggled with that label, with being in sales, and that I'm not a salesperson. And I had a lot of insecurities about whether or not I could be a solo agent and could be successful at it. And so when I signed on for your coaching, I could barely afford your fee. I thought it was a risk for me to take on that expense with where I was at with my income. But I knew I had to try. I knew I had to, to be brave and put myself out there. And, you really helped me with that mental piece of it, that, that our beliefs limit us, and that we can train our minds to believe, whatever we put in it, and that, we are sometimes our biggest obstacles. And in my case, I was my own biggest obstacle. I was just, insecure and afraid. And, that's where I think coaching, really played a pivotal role in me becoming an individual agent and finding success, was that I needed help. I mean, I needed the roadmap, but I also needed the tools to help me mentally, come to what I could be as a real estate professional, and that I don't have to be a salesperson. I'm just helping people. That's all I'm doing. And if I just focus on that, keep my head focused on that, I am helping people, that they need help with the biggest purchase potentially of their life. And if I can just stay in that mindset, then I feel like I can find success.
Well, I remember you bouncing this back and forth with me, going like, "Do you think I can?" And you had a lot of baggage. You had a lot of, like, as you said, not wanting to be a salesperson, not wanting to like. And I remember watching your energy on our calls, and I was like, "You can do this. Like
Yeah.
you need." And I don't think I was maybe more forceful. I was like, "You need to go off and do
Yes.
this."
Yes.
Because you have a bigger purpose here. You have a bigger energy, bigger heart. Like, you need to go do this. And again, that fear, that crossing that threshold of, is it possible? Because it's hard to look in the future and go, well, how big can this be? What could this grow into? And who would have known it would have grown into what you've built today?
Yeah. Not me. Nobody's more surprised than me, Gary.
Well, you at some point too, you plan some of this out though, right? I
Yes.
mean, obviously, sometime when we experience big success, particularly like you've had in 2024, but you also set yourself on certain pathways, right? So, like, if we look over from the time you're like, all right, I'm going to make this decision. I'm going to go out on my own. I'm going to be my own agent, and now you actually have a small team as well that it supports and works around you as well. What would you say are kind of the one or two things that helped you stay focused? Because you seem like a risk taker, right? Obviously, you're like, okay, this is a risk, but I'm going to invest in this.
Yep.
But what was that mental kind of state you put yourself in to be able to sustain that? Because a lot of people will look at that and say, gosh, man, I don't know. I'm too scared to take that step because I don't know if that will work. And is it worth me putting that risk out there to go achieve that? But you obviously solved that. So what's your advice from a mental standpoint on that?
Yeah. I mean, I think that, somewhat, and, I've always felt this way, but then over the last few years with some loss around us, that life is short, and that, you know, if you sit on the sidelines, you'll never know. You'll never know. And the last thing that I would ever want is to look back and have regret that I didn't try. I mean, worst case scenario, I don't make any more money than I did before. Okay. Well, then, we'll try something else. But I think that whole idea of being, in the arena, or, you won't know if you don't put yourself out there. And that is easier said than done. I get that. And it took me a while to get there, mentally. There were a lot of positive affirmations and things that I had to, kind of put into my brain, to be brave, and to just say, look, I'm gonna make this jump. I'm gonna change firms. I'm gonna go out on my own. I'm gonna try to step into the luxury, real estate space when I hadn't sold a luxury property. I mean, I had sold double wide trailers, and other things as well. But I was really stepping into something I had no experience in, or expertise. But I knew if I didn't try, I would have regret.
So, Jess, you talk about affirmations, and I know we've done a lot of work and a lot of mindset work over the years.
Yeah.
Not that you needed it, but I mean, it's obviously
Yes,
keeping
I did.
yourself focused in a really good space, and because the evil voices can come in, and the voices of, like, I don't think this is going to work. Maybe I'm doing the wrong thing. That stuff happens for everybody out there. And
Yeah.
I was looking at your words for the year this year is still
Yeah.
brave and confident. Those are still the words you keep around you today. Can you share a little bit about, like, what it's meant to have that type of focus, and why maybe why you even chose those words for this year for yourself?
Yeah. I mean, I think it, just continues to go back to that idea that I was insecure and afraid to, and that's my, default. And that's from, childhood on that, I always struggled a little bit with that. And so I think that I did, you say I didn't need work, but I think I did, with training my brain to be brave and to be confident and to know that, I have a skill set that I have been working on now for over a decade, and I can provide guidance to these people. And I just need to remember that and be brave and put myself in the space with potential clients, because I know at the end of the day that I can provide them with things that will make their real estate experience better, that will get them to their goals. And I just have to, to be brave and to be confident enough to pull into that driveway. And so I think that that constant reminder, for me is really, really helpful, and to just keep it simple. It doesn't have to be this complicated, multifaceted, crazy business. We are helping people. We are guiding them from, point A to point B, from upsizing, downsizing, moving out of state, whatever that is. And just being confident that I have the knowledge and the skill set to help get them there, and to hopefully provide them with a good experience. And maybe we're gonna have a little fun, maybe we're gonna create a new friendship, new relationship out of it. That's my hope.
Well, so this idea of being brave and confident, and if I look at your path that you've been on, so here you were selling in Charlotte on a team. Now you're in Lake Norman, which is, if anybody knows Lake Norman, it's a waterfront community country club, beautiful area where you actually do most of your business out of. And so I look at that, and you went there as like maybe I can be an agent and work in this office. I remember having that conversation with you, and because of your mindset and what you were bringing to the table, well, you quickly became somebody who was in charge of the office. And I remember you taking on that role. I remember lots of coaching calls of us going like, is this really what we want to be doing? Like, is this
Nope.
going to be a helpful thing? And you had that place of like, if I don't do it, nobody's going to kind of oversee this and run this. So I kind of
Right.
like feel like I have to. You really don't get compensated as a managing broker. You really have stepped into this role where you run your real estate business at this really high level. And you do get some compensation to be there and to run it, but
Ti-
not as a typical managing broker. And I think when we talk about, Matt said team, and I think you have a really unique situation that you really are kind of an agent in that office with a group of other agents with you that you've learned to delegate to, from what I understand. Do you want to expand on that a little bit? Because I think you have a unique situation that if you heard it from the outside, you might go, oh, she's a managing broker, she has all these agents underneath her, of course. But your situation is really not that much different, I don't feel, from you being an agent in any other office and having other agents around you that you can work with and rely on and share responsibilities with.
Absolutely. Yeah. So first, to clarify, I do get a little bit of compensation for
Of
being
course, yeah. I mean, yes, yeah.
the broker in charge. So I want to be clear on that. I couldn't live off of it, but I do get compensated for that job. But yeah, we're a small office, and I did kind of fall into the manager role by accident. I was not my intention to be the leader, but it made sense. I didn't want to see our culture get compromised, and so I felt like I was the right person to step up that could make sure that we remained open and collaborative with one another. And when you're a small office, it doesn't take but one person that could disrupt something great. And so I kind of stepped into it because of that. And then yeah, I'm not, I don't have a team as a traditional, as you would define it traditionally. There are other agents that work out of our office, and I do partner with one of those agents. And I do have one paid staff that she functions as the office manager and does some assistant work for me. So yeah. So otherwise, I mean, I am just like any other agent. I'm what we would call a practicing broker in charge. So I still do sales, which can be a delicate dance when you're in sales, as the leader. Which is why I think it's so important for us that we are open and collaborative and function, with a culture of building each other up and sharing ideas and, trusting one another fully. And I think, as long as I'm supporting them and they feel supported, then it all works.
You mentioned this collaboration, which is awesome because you not only collaborate on business, but you also collaborate on content and marketing and everything with your people as well, which makes it fun.
Yeah.
And what are some of the ways that you were able to inspire that? Because some people say, well, yeah, she's the managing broker, so of course she can kind of foster that environment. Yeah, that helps, but I think agents can also do that themselves with other agents not in a managing broker position. So
Absolutely.
like how do you create that collaboration opportunity? Like what are the things that you need to be open about, and how do you then connect with other agents to share together?
Yeah. So, I mean, it isn't easy. I'm not going to pretend that it's easy to find people in our industry to collaborate with and to share with. I mean, you have to find, I think it's, or for me anyway, I felt it was extremely important that I collaborate and connect with other agents who feel the same way that I do about the way we handle our business and the way we treat our clients and the level of service that we're going to provide. And that takes time. That takes time to get to know the other agent. I do not want to collaborate with somebody that doesn't share my same values. That to me is not going to take us anywhere helpful. But if you can find somebody like that, or find, if you're lucky enough to find a couple of somebody's like that, then that's where you really get some exciting things that start to happen, some synergy and some fun as you start to share ideas. And then, the agent that I've been working with a lot, her name is Michaela, and Michaela has this awesome marketing background where I am more of the business mind. She has all of these ideas that I would have never thought of. And the way she looks at details and if we're doing an ad together, the way she looks at the font or the stuff that I would have never known. And so, then it's like, okay, two heads become, it's like I would be here and she might be here, but together we're way up here. And that I think is what fuels the desire to then keep doing that and keep collaborating. Because I'm not afraid to admit that I'm not, I'm not the smartest person in the room a lot of the time. And I'm not afraid to say, hey, you know what, you're smarter than me in that particular arena, and I would love to partner with you. And I might be able to provide, you with some expertise in another area.
Well, and I think you've learned a lot along the way, because this isn't like you just all of a sudden found Michaela. Like, you've been through a couple other partnerships, working with some couple other agents that we
Yep.
can not mention right now. And it's like that didn't work. And you could tell, I could sense your energy when those other partnerships were in play, that you're like, something's not right. Like, I am
Right.
not getting the right energy. We're not going in the right direction.
Right.
Everything seems like it's a little bit of a push. And it's really interesting since Michaela's kind of entered your world, and really that hasn't been what's been this year.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So it's really been this time that I've watched your energy just kind of just crank up. And 2024, as we've talked about, this was about controlling your energy and making sure you were in flow with your people, which,
Yep.
to say that you had the year that you had, this incredible year, like, it doesn't surprise me, because you've done a great job of surrounding yourself around great people that push your energy up. And you've done a great job of making sure that when allowed, because you have had some roadblocks that have come up in this year too, you've kept down with, focusing with your people. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think that as cool as it is that we are, independent contractors and we are our own business, it allows us to be creative in what way am I going to be the most successful, and is my business going to be the most successful? And that may mean for some people, being on a team. It may mean signing a partnership agreement. It may mean just, we just partner up and we have guidelines and things that we follow, but it doesn't have to fit in a box. That's what's so great about our industry. And, we are our business and we can do whatever we want. If it's going to make us happy and successful, and don't be afraid of that. Don't be afraid to try something different. You don't have to fit in the traditional box of what, your real estate partners have looked like in the past. It can be whatever you want it to be.
So, Matt, do you have a question?
I was going to say that's a really great point. Like combining happy and successful, two words that sometimes challenge each other. And so what have you found, particularly in this year, 2024? Because I know some agents who maybe have been kind of successful, but they weren't necessarily happy. They felt stressed and all that
Yep.
stuff. And
Yep.
and on the converse of that, of like I'm not successful, and maybe I'm enjoying life, but also maybe I'm struggling. So how did you find that intersection of those two, kind of like the emotion of happiness and then like the tangibility of success? And is it routine? Is it a certain strategy? What is it for you?
Yeah, no, I think both. I think certainly, sticking with what works, don't reinvent the wheel when the market's changing, in my opinion. I have always done print marketing, email marketing, and then I do social media. I do videos on social media, and I'm not changing that this year. I'm not, I'm not going to be afraid. And I also have been one that has been pretty conservative with making sure I've got money saved and that kind of thing too, so that if for some reason this year hadn't been as successful, I was prepared, marketing wise, to be able to still do all the same things. So sticking with the routine and what works, it's proven, to bring me success in years past. So we're gonna just stick with that. And I think also, obviously our industry went through quite a change in especially regarding buyers, and how we're being compensated. And I think, again, it goes back to that word of confidence, and just being confident that I can provide you with, guidance and professional advice that is worth any kind of, compensation that I might be seeking. And going in with the enthusiasm and the energy that I'm gonna be your advocate, and I'm gonna get you from point A to point B. And I think, when we found success this year, it was with clients that were all in, that were committed and wanted to work together, that wanted, to be on the same team. And so, when we would get to the closing table, it was so much joy. And I felt fulfilled, knowing that they wanted the help, and that I was committed to helping them and to be a part of the team and to get them to the closing table. So there was no question about, whatever my service fee or compensation might have been, that they're not even concerned about that, because whatever it was worth it.
So you made a comment about don't change the path, like don't change what's working. And I mean, obviously you have had a set path that we put you on a long time ago, of just
Yeah.
very consistent, getting on the phone, taking care of your people, being in flow with them, events here and there when you can do events.
Yep.
You obviously have a social media campaign that you started up here about a year and 2 years ago, maybe. Like, I feel like those videos really started cranking off the creative side of you. And it's fun. So if anybody goes and checks out Jess Babington's videos, I asked her one time, I said, what is your intention out of doing those videos? Is it about creating, like attracting in strangers, or is it about building a better relationship with the people you already have? And she goes, this is for the people that already know me. She's like, this is just to make sure that they get my energy and we're having fun. And they really are. I can tell you're having fun when you do your videos, and that's what makes it like kind of all come to life. But what has been your strategy of building a referral relationship style business like you built, that is as strong as it is, that makes people come back over and over and over again and say, I'm using you again, Jess, and I want you to work with my friends? What are kind of the simple things you've stuck to?
Yeah. So, certainly, building that database. And, one thing that we, always focused on was building a group of people that know you, and I think important, like you, that like you. And, like, I think that is super important. And that makes it less work, right? When you're calling and staying in the flow with somebody that likes you and that you like them, that goes a long way. And so, building that database, loving on that database, and then marketing to that database. And I think, in today's day, with, us being pulled in so many different directions, and B, that, I am working with different age demographics, that I think, I keep using the word hit. I don't want it to sound like I'm not hitting them. I'm not physically hitting them, but hitting them in different, I'm going to be in your mailbox. I'm going to be in your email box. I'm going to be on your social media feed, and then you're going to see me around. So, kind of, being a little bit all encompassing in terms of, the way that we market. And, it doesn't have to necessarily be that expensive either. I mean, obviously print costs money, and you can debate me on whether or not that makes, that's worth it. But I still believe in print. Email marketing is not expensive, not at all. And I have a template in MailChimp, and we just update the content every month. So it's not, super labor intense. And then, I do pay a professional videographer to film my video every month. But you don't have to do that. And I've got it now where, I batch content. So I film for 2 hours a month, 2 hours a month. And we do 12 videos, so that I'm posting, hopefully 3 videos a week is the goal. And, really for me, it was about, I don't want to go viral in the sense that, a bunch of strangers saw my video and I get, if you look at how many fans or likes I have, it's not exorbitant, but those people that do are, again, people that know me and like me, people in my community that know me and like me. So that, like this morning, for instance, I had to pick up my dad from the local car garage because he was getting his car service. And the guy in the garage was like, "Oh, I know your daughter. I watch every single one of her videos." Like, that's the goal. That is the goal, that, that in my community that I'm being seen.
Yep.
So that's kind of my thoughts about it, is that, I'm trying to, hit them from both sides.
On that, because like I think it is important to have the different channels, right? And I know a lot of realtors are always thinking about different ways to marketing, but you layered that on over time too, right?
Yes.
So like
Oh, yeah.
what was your process on getting that started? Because a lot of people will go, "Oh, this channel's not working. Let me hop over to this channel." When it's
Right.
really like, no, get this channel working so that you can
Correct.
then open up this other one. So tell us a little bit about that
Yeah,
process.
absolutely. I mean, it started with Facebook and Instagram, and obviously those two now being kind of linked makes things super, super easy. That, if you're doing one, you might as well do both. In my opinion, with the two of them, they're it's so easy now. But that's where it started, and to be honest, I'm still, I have a YouTube channel, but I don't, I don't invest much time or energy in it. So I'll be the first to admit that it exists, but it's not my, my primary focus. And then, I added LinkedIn, which is an interesting one that catches some of the professionals that aren't you're not going to find on any other platform. Some of the like big, developers in our area or entrepreneurs, in our community are only on LinkedIn. And that's an easy one to just plug and play as well. So I don't devote a lot of time to it, but I added that one in, and I think that one's one that I would depending on who your database is a good one. And then of course, TikTok is the newer,
Sure.
kind of one that people are trying to focus on. And we obviously know that there've been agents that have gotten super successful through TikTok. That one's the newest one for me. So I don't have much of a following there yet.
But even before social media too, you had email and direct mail kind of already solidly working before you even went into video spaces, right?
That's right. That's right. Yep. And like we've talked about, kind of the balance between art and science. And, I think I try to, well, I would probably say 60%, maybe even a little higher, of my video content is more entertainment based than it is, science based. But I try to mix in, data, trends, market trends, that kind of thing. And then the same in, my print and email is a mix of both. I want them to feel like they're getting something. So that may be that I'm just making them laugh. But I also want them to, I call it like a cocktail talk, like to be able to like get little snippets out of my emails, so that when they're out mixing and talking to people, they're like, did you see that, that our median home price has fallen? I saw that in an email from Jess Babington, that, just little tiny, because that's all our brains can handle anymore.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm not going to write I'm not going to waste time writing a huge, commentary on our market. Just highlight big numbers. What's going on? What do I need to know? That they're going to spend 30 seconds or less, and then they're going to delete it, and try to get something that's going to stick in here, with them as they go.
Oh,
Well, and
yeah.
I love as you've evolved along this time. I think a lot of people want to flip the switch and they want to turn all this stuff on all at once and put it all out there. And I think that, as you said, your social media is more entertainment wise. And I think if you led with that, if you started off, if you came in the Lake Norman marketplace and you're like, I'm going to be this person that's going to put out this content and it's going to be silly and goofy and fun, you have a foundation that you've built for a long time that I think has allowed you to let that fun entertainment side come out.
Yeah.
Whereas people see it on social media, they're like, and this is why you're not attracting in strangers per se. It's because a stranger might look at that and go, that's kind of ridiculous. As a person that knows you, they're like, it's Jess. Look at that.
Yeah.
And I think it's these really important layers you've done a great job of building out.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. And it is, like we said, not to make it too complicated.
Yeah.
Don't overwhelm yourself, because you can, I had an agent that worked with us a while back, and he sat at his desk all day, all day. And he was very, very knowledgeable on social media and paid ads and demographic. I'm going to direct this ad to go to this demographic and this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, he wasn't out face to face with anybody, and the business did not come. It did not. And I think you can get bogged down with some of this stuff and get stuck, behind your screen. And I think that, especially in a shifting market, when things, as our market continues to evolve, what's going to stay true is relationships. And what's going to stay true is, that they know who I am, and they know, that I'm somebody that's going to have their best interest at heart. And yeah, maybe we're going to be a little silly, and maybe we're going to have a good time, but I'm going to work my butt off. And, and I know you, and I know you, and I've got your back.
So with the marketing that you're doing, and we got all the one piece that you've been good at is the actual face-to-face. Like, I feel like you take advantage, and you have a little bit of a special setup here because your office is literally set right in the compound of the country club that, most of your business is around. How do you take advantage of that environment? Because I know getting face-to-face is one of the challenges for a lot of people. And I've seen people that have put their office in Old Town of the little town they work in so that they can just walk out their door and they're there with everybody. How have you used your environment to get that face-to-face? Because it's so darn important in building everything you're building.
It is. Absolutely it is. And again, maybe I'm old school in some of this, that I, do believe, in face to face and hugs and eye contact and all of those things. And so I do, try to mix and mingle, just I'm having coffee there every morning in the bakery, and I see, I know when the ladies do Bible study and when, all the different things are happening. So I can, pop by and say hello. I sponsor, a monthly coffee, like, networking event. I just sponsor, like, whatever little things, if they do a giveaway or whatever, I sponsor that, and I try to pop in and just say hello. And also, one thing that you and I talked about a really long time ago, when I started to try to go towards the luxury space and kind of reinvent my business and start over with developing a kind of new database, was I've got to build this database in a way that I enjoy. So what are ways to get in front of people that I like? Well, I like playing tennis. So, that was an easy one for me. So, I'm going to start playing tennis. I'm going to start, I'm going to get on a team. I'm going to start, developing relationships that way. I also, I'm very, I love to give back. I'm very charitable. So, like, okay, what are organizations that I legit care about? Not the organization that necessarily has the most affluent people on their board. Maybe if that's the cause that's important to me, but if it's not, I want to make sure that I'm doing things that I enjoy and that, is going to feel good over time and not feel like work.
So, okay, can I interrupt you here? Because I want to go back real quick to something that we haven't talked about for a while, but I saw it on social media the other day, where you are still giving away dogs to veterans, service dogs, right?
Yeah, I haven't this year. I haven't, but in the past, yes, that and
Something
I'm
came
going
up.
to
I think it
next
was
year.
a reminder from the past, and I
Yes.
was like, "Oh my gosh, she's still doing it." So,
Yes. Well, I
um,
did we gave a lot of money to the to that military charity this year, that some of it. But I didn't specifically have a dog that was mine this year, but I do hope to do that next year.
there's a great story that Jess has when she first started doing this, and she gave this dog away to this veteran that had PTSD. And I remember, Jess, you coming back after the ball. They had a big ball where they basically presented the dog, and they made a
Mhm.
big performance with it. And I remember you coming back to me like, "I'm doing this. I get so much out of this." She goes, "The wife of the veteran came running across the room in tears to hug me because
Yep.
she said, 'I actually got my husband back.'" And I'm like, this isn't selling real estate. Like, we're not selling real estate here, but you are changing lives through what you have the ability of doing. And it was just, for me, it's one of my most favorite moments when you got to share that story.
Yeah, and mine too. And that's, that's what's going to keep you in real estate for decades, right? If you can find, okay, it's a win, 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 right? Like I'm making money that I'm then able to give some of that back, and through that develop relationships that then bring me business, and round and round and round we go, right? That it's like, I'm helping them, I'm giving back. I feel great. They feel great. It's a beautiful thing. And I do think, for anybody out there that needs motivation, if you say, okay, I'm going to give a percentage of my business, of my income back, find something that you can go and see and touch. That to me was a game changer, that I could see that dog with that family, and the wife, like, literally in tears hugging me, that her husband hadn't been able to go to the grocery store in years, and now had this dog that could sit by his feet when he was standing in line and make him feel safe. That is like, that fuels you. I want to give more dogs. Well, how do I get more dogs? I got to make more money.
I mean, the power of that, I love the idea of like do something that you can see and touch and experience, because so many times people are looking for just like, how do I just kind of make this happen so I feel good, which
They
is
give a check. Matt, we watch people all the time. They write their check to the charity and they say thank you to the, which is not, I mean,
there's
it's not a
nothing
bad
wrong with that.
Yeah,
thing,
still great.
But
but it's very,
I witnessed a Make-A-Wish gift this is about a month ago, and it was just so cool to like be able to see the people giving it. Like the recipients were like over the moon. They gave away a Disney trip. It was awesome. But the people who were really facilitating that gift, like you could see in their faces, and you can see like their nervous energy as they were getting ready. And I'm like, they're getting so much out of this that they probably didn't even plan on.
No.
I mean, we already know the recipient's going to get a ton, right? And so I love that idea of like take it to the next level of something you can see and touch and be a part of. That's really
Yeah, because
awesome. So,
there are needs in your community. I mean, it is mind-boggling, when you start to really understand the needs in your own backyard,
yeah.
and to be able to have an impact that you can wrap your arms around, fueled me in a way I didn't anticipate. And you almost feel guilty, like I shouldn't be feeling this good, about giving. Like, you're the recipient, but somehow I feel like I'm winning, and that, but it fuels you like, not like nothing else.
I love it. Well, if you don't mind, I'd love to change gears here a little
Yeah.
bit to some of the income results that you've had, but I also want to lean into like again 2024, because you've been building a business. We've had conversations over the years where you're like, I don't need to make any more money. I just want to maintain. And I always love it when somebody says like, I'm good right where I'm at. And that usually lasts for a little bit. And then there's this little voice that says, but what if, and what if we grew this a little bit more? And you really haven't pushed that hard, but you have accidentally made more money. Accidentally, as just being you and showing up and doing what you do, you have made more money. And I think 2024 is a really good example of that. And do you mind if we share some of the numbers? Because you said, like, I delegated a lot of business this year. I handed off a lot of business. And if I would have kept it all, it would have been hands down the largest, biggest year you've ever had. At the same point, it was a very successful year because you made an incredible income and you were able to handle a lot of life's events that came your way this year. So numbers wise, real quick, What's the best year you've ever had in real estate? Well, let's just start there, and then let's look at kind of where your numbers have been.
Yeah. So, gosh, was it 2021 that was the most bananas of the COVID? It was either,
Yeah.
yeah,
Pretty much.
2021. 2021 will still beat this year slightly.
Okay. Slightly though.
Yeah.
Okay. So this year you're sitting right around, and we're still closing out this year. We're still got a couple. I mean, we're recording this early, so we've got a little bit of stuff going on here still. But where are you probably going to end this year up at 2024?
Net to me after my split. So after my firm takes their cut, I'm somewhere, somewhere north of 500, somewhere in
Okay.
the.
All right.
Pretty
So
darn good coming from 40,000
I know.
10 years ago.
seriously, like that. I mean, that's 10 years ago.
10
Like,
years ago. When I thought I was not capable of making $100,000, I really did not believe it.
so that's net, as you said. We're talking about 500,000. Now, you also have, you said, about how much, if you would have kept it all, if you didn't turn any business away, what would have been on top of it potentially?
Yeah, I haven't done the math, but it would be six, more than 100,000 more.
Yeah, I think when we were talking on our coaching call the other day, you kind of made you said it would probably be about $150,000 more sitting on the table there. And then it's hard to say. I mean, you're handling business away. Who knows what would happen with that? You've created an incredible year. And I mean, obviously, as we talked about delegating and having people that you trust, you made a comment as we were getting into this. You said, we talked about when things don't go right and when you get this chance to delegate or you get stuck in this, it'll only be right if I can do it myself. And I think this is where so many people struggle, Jess. And you said you struggled with this for years.
Mm-hmm.
How did you come to a place of being able to say, I'm okay to delegate this stuff off? What gave you that confidence level to be able to do that?
Yeah, I think some of it is the quality of the people that you surround yourself with, right? And finding those people, and that doesn't come easy. It doesn't, I mean, I have worked with some wonderful people, over the years, and I'm not discounting those people, but to find someone that really, like we talked about, aligns, with your values and your business principles. I think that's that is the biggest piece, is just finding the kind of quality people that you can fully trust. And then I think second is taking the time, and I'm still not the best at this and I'm still working at this, is to take the time to explain to them and teach them what your expectations are. We're so busy in our business that it's like, okay, I find somebody I like and I'd like for them to help me, but I don't have time to teach them how to help me. So then when the time comes when there's an emergency, then it's like, well, shoot, I trust them, but if they don't know so I'll just do it myself because I don't have time now to teach them, because and that cycle repeating itself because we're constantly flying by the seat of our pants because we're in the trenches. And so you have to be committed. And I'm still working on this to be committed to really, sitting face to face with the people you're going to delegate to and sharing the minutia and the details and that, like, don't just forward that email that the agent on the other side is asking a bunch of questions. Read the questions, because some of them you can answer yourself. We don't need to be bothering the client with, just little things that, that if you don't teach them that, then you're going to forever be disappointed in what they do when you're away. And then you won't want to delegate. And so that's been a huge one for me this year, is just really investing the time in these people. And knowing that they may leave you and you can't, it's like being burned in relationships, it's like, I invested all this time in this relationship and they left me. So now I'm going to get in a new relationship and I'm not going to invest as much time. I'm not going to totally commit, but you have to really build the kind of team and the kind of, quality of help that you want.
So do you build processes then that, like, you write them down? How do you, I mean, so you invest the time, but like, how do you train them? Is it like, hey, we're going to like potentially work together and I want to give you, so do you like kind of mentor them? Is it usually like less experienced agents that you mentor so they kind of get the benefit of learning from you. And if
Yeah.
they have the opportunity to serve you, great. And if they don't, great. They just learned something great.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah, both. I'm gonna be honest, my nickname growing up was Messy Jessie. And I fight against that girl every day. And so I'm not the best with processes. I'm not the one that's gonna, rewrite the employee handbook. It's just not. But I do, like, so for instance, how do you pull a plat off of our, GIS? So I've made videos about that, and I send that to, so they can refer back to that. And that takes 2 minutes as opposed to I'm going to write a step-by-step guide that's going to take me an hour and make me want to pull my hair out. I'll make a quick video on my screen of how to do it. I'm going to send it to you. Done. You can refer back to that over and over and over. And then also, for better or for worse, which is why I'm at my home office today, my work office is open. So I don't have a door. I don't have walls. It is open. So if agents are in the office, they're hearing me. My office manager slash assistant is there with me. So, they are learning a lot by just being in the, mix with me while we're doing things and hearing how I talk, hearing how I interact with clients, like let's put the phone on speaker and, we're going to talk to this client together. And I think that there's nothing that can replace just, being together while you're doing the business.
You know what's crazy is there's so many people, and I would too, that would be like, that's an absolute nightmare. You don't have a spot you can go do your business in, you can't be focused, but you literally have a learning think tank environment that allows people to hear what you're, because you are one of the, if not the top producer in your office. And I think for them to be able to learn from you as you are going through your processes and working with your people allows them to step into the role to be
Yep.
able to help you out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And there are certainly times that, like today, I'm working from home because if I had done this in my office, God knows, I mean, the door can open at any moment and we never know who might walk in.
Yeah.
So there are times that I have to, kind of separate myself from that environment. But for the most part, yeah, it's fantastic. And at the end of the day, real estate can be lonely. And so I think wait, if there are ways to bring us together and force us, into shared time, I think that can only be a good thing.
I love it.
No, that is incredible. So you've built this awesome environment for yourself and in this environment for others. So you coming back to where we started with like the collaboration, we kind of dove right in that early on. You've also now manufactured the environment to create collaboration as well. Right. So you started with, okay, here's how we can have the mindset of it. And now here's how we can actually physically have it, which I think is incredible. And it's a great thing for people to take away is, one, see if you can find that if you're looking for it, but two, also see how you can create it, because I doesn't take, and I say this again, a managing broker position to be able to create that for yourself. You can be an agent and just get together with your fellow agents and be like, cool, how do we do this for ourselves?
Absolutely. And you guys are trying to do it too with what you're doing now with the co-working and, and my apologies, I haven't gotten in on that, but, but you're trying to do that as well, because I think, in a post-COVID culture, we can get stuck in our own little, our caves, as Garrett, called it. And I just don't think that, for a business that's so relationship driven, that's the necessary. I mean, you can find success in a million ways in real estate, but I don't know that that's the best path for long-term success is to do it alone.
Yeah, great.
Well, I have one last thing, Matt, if you don't mind, I want to throw on the table here just to kind of just to put a bow on the income and the results and successes that you've had in 2024. Because again, not everybody got to have, nipping at the best year they ever had. Definitely not comparing it as we were very close to what we did in 2021. And then plus just the deals and stuff that you had left on the table that you were able to, push off into other people. Use the word as we were getting started that kind of like 2024, you had a really good work-life balance. And so there's two things here. One is there's this awesome income that you've had, which a lot of people go, wish I could have had that in 2024. Very few people are using work-life balance also in 2024. So can you explain a little bit of what that looks like for you and kind of your ways that, and I think a lot of what we talked about today kind of leads into this, but like, you got there. You literally are leaving 2024 saying, I had a really good work-life balance. You want to go deeper with that?
Yeah. And I think, to be to be frank, and I would never wish it on anybody, it happened because I was forced to. It happened because I had a loss, right? So I lost my stepmom in April, and my dad lives here locally and is now on his own, and God bless the man, did not know how to work a washing machine. So we've had to go through a lot together, over the past few months to get, and he's wonderful and healthy, and he's doing great. But so I was forced. I didn't have a choice. I had to prioritize my family. And what I learned is that, I had been working with, getting a better team in place anyway, and really feeling great about all of that when that happened. So thank God for that. And that things were already going in the right direction when that went down. But that, because I had to step back, I learned that I could, and I learned how. And I think that that lesson I will carry with me now going forward is that, understanding really, I want to provide a level of service for my clients. I don't ever want to miss their call, or to not be able to speak with them when they're stressed out about something. I don't want them going to bed worrying about some aspect of their contract that they didn't get the answer from because I didn't answer the phone. That's always, eaten away at me. But that a lot of this stuff, I create emergencies that aren't emergencies. I create, that. And so learning, how to really understand what's important and what's not, and how to hand things off, and let other people do things, that they can do. And in a lot of things, I'm learning they do it better than me. You know, that's that's a hard realization to come to. It's like, oh God, you did that way better than I would have done it. Then rolling with that. All right, well, you're going to do that from now on. I'm not doing that anymore. And continuing to just evolve in that way. And so then, okay, it doesn't have to be a family emergency for me to shut off. And I don't want anybody to go through what I went through to get to the point that I'm at. I don't. But what I hope they take away from, my journey is that, it is okay to prioritize yourself, and it is okay to just shut it down. And, your clients are still going to be there, and maybe you miss an opportunity. Maybe you do, and we have to just believe in the idea of abundance, that there'll be other opportunities. And if, we miss that call, we miss that call. We just have to do the best we can. But if we're not taking care of ourselves, then how are we going to take care of anybody else?
Well, and if you're stressing yourself out to try to not miss that one call, your performance on everything else is going to be so diminished that that one call won't make up for the lack that you could create by just showing up better for the things that you can do and that you can plan for. And hard that you had to go through that with that. And gosh, sympathy for you and your family and your dad, of course, but great to see how the growth through that, and be like, oh, the identifiers that come out through this. And I appreciate you sharing it, because there are people listening who are probably like, I haven't taken a vacation in years, right? I haven't
Or you take one, but you're pacing up and down the beach.
Yeah. Or it's
you're
not really a
standing outside
vacation.
the
You're just
restaurant.
working
Yeah.
somewhere else, right? It's like what the parents with toddlers say. It's like, we don't go on vacations. We just take care of our kids in other places.
Yeah.
And that's what realtors do. It's like, I don't go on vacations. I just do business from over here.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, that's nice. It's like, oh, cool, I can work from anywhere. And I used to say this, like, and I still say it sometimes. It's like, I can work from anywhere, but that's nice when I want to work. But when I want to just be somewhere, like having the systems and tools to get away. And so I think I'm glad you shared that, because I'm sure someone's thinking like, oh, I can set that up so that I can, still run a successful business and not worry about trying to capture this, and this.
Yeah. And your clients will still respect you. They go on vacation too, I mean,
Well, and Jess, I think too, is what you have built out, and what we've watched a lot of people build out, is that when you build a really strong database, you started off this entire thing with a really strong database, a really good group of people that you get to see face to face often, you're in their world all the time. They will give you a ton of freedom. If you didn't have that built, if you were processing internet leads and that was the only way that you were going to be able to be successful, when you shut down, your business is shut down. It is done,
right.
and it is dead until you come back to it. And
Yeah.
I think
And a
that's the,
stranger's not going to give you the kind of grace that, someone you've known for years is going to give
they
you.
don't care. They would say, Jess, I'm really sorry you have this situation going on. Who's another person I can work with? Or they would just go and find somebody else. So
Yeah. They're not even going to say sorry.
yeah,
They're
they wouldn't
gone.
even say sorry. All of a sudden, they just are working with another agent. So
Yep.
I think there's a lot to, and I've told people over the years, building that strong foundation of relationships will give you an amazing amount of freedom when
Yeah.
things go awry, when things go sideways, and it happens.
Yep.
Life.
Yep. And that's not complicated. This is not hard. This is, saying hello, how you doing, and letting them talk. Just ask questions, let them talk. And that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Great point. Great point, man. Well,
Jess,
this is
I
there's
appreciate
so
you.
much that you bring, Jess, and like your energy is just so awesome. I really appreciate you taking some time to share some stuff with us. Is there anything else that if someone was coming to ask you for advice on, like, maybe they're at the point where they're doing pretty well, they're at the 100, 200,000 mark, depending on how relative that is for their marketplace, and they're
Yeah.
like, what's one thing I can focus on to move myself towards that, doubling that up just like you have?
Yeah, I think we just hit it, right? Like for me, and it's a slow burn to build to build a database and to really love on that database and create that loyal following. But that to me is the best way, and the way that will sustain you, through the long term. So just, I would say, find a way to get involved in something you enjoy, and start to meet new people and just build those relationships, and the business will come. Be you, and let them know that you're an expert, give them things of value, and the business will come. And I think that being a good person in your community and caring about others will take you anywhere you want to go.
I love it. I agree.
I love it.
And have a coach. I like, I know I'm not, I am not a paid spokesperson. I was not compensated for,
You're paying us to be the spokesperson.
but I am a big fan of coaching. And I do think that, investing the time in yourself, and in all of the things you guys are offering now, is it's not just about your business, it's about your life. And, you guys are incredible at offering tools to make us, successful in all areas of our lives. So, get involved in y'all's programs, and invest in yourself.
Jess, I appreciate you so much. Thank you. Your energy is amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Well, Jess, thanks for coming on. Garrett, thank you as well. And for everyone listening, thank you guys so much for joining us on this incredible adventure with Jess Babington in Lake Norman, North Carolina. Jess, where can people find you? What is your Instagram handle, or what is the best way for people to discover you?
Yeah. So I'm on Instagram at Jess Babington. That's probably the easiest. And I always love talking to other agents and sharing stories. And so don't be shy.
Perfect. So go send Jess a DM, tell her that you found her here, and just tell her thank you for sharing her story, because we certainly appreciate it. And we appreciate all of you listening. And if you do want to get involved in some of the stuff that Jess was talking about, you can head over to lifeat10tenths.com and you can learn about our options there. We do have kind of like a little starter membership to give you just a little bit more than this podcast. So we got mindset videos, our book insights that Garrett and I do every single month. The Monday mindsets happen every single week. But if you do want to get involved in a program to help you level up, that's our 11 Circle. That's our coaching program. And we have all of our business planning stuff in there. We have Success Labs where we bring in guests to talk about marketing, to talk about health. We had Dan Martell talk about how to buy back your time. So many great things in there. So you can come check out a 7-day free trial of that if you like at lifeat10tenths.com. And of course, keep tuning into this. Share this out with people who you think would find value in it. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, hit the bell, do all the things that people tell you to do when you're watching YouTube videos. And we sure appreciate you guys and look forward to speaking with you on the next one.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you tons.